Okay, I'd like to thank the grace of heaven and the virtues of the masters and the compassion and mercy of grand predecessors, transmitters, temple masters, lecturers, and everybody else for giving me this opportunity to talk about today's topic, which is chapter 24 of the Tao Te Ching. Okay, so this is a relatively short chapter. The title is Butsu, not to engage, disengage, or to abide in permanence or constancy, so Chang. Okay, so it's divided into three sections. The first two phrases is you can say the intro, okay, or the thesis, and then the next four phrases is basically description or analysis. Talking about the first two, phrases, further details, elaboration. Okay, and if you notice, if you remember this middle section, the section 2, it's not the same. It's similar though. It's the inverse of chapter 22, to embrace or hold the one. The center sections, these four phrases. Okay, so it's the inverse, right? Chapter 22 talks about not being or not boasting, not swanting. Then you'll have this quality. Okay, not self-asserting, self-presuming, presumptuous. Basically, you're always right, or you're very assertive. Okay, then you are distinguished. Okay, then self-seeking, self-approving, etc., and then self-praise. Okay, so that's chapter 22. So in 24, he's doing the inverse of 22. So he's saying, if you self-flaunt, etc., then you are not clear, etc., etc. Okay, so that's section 2. So he's reaffirming in a different way in chapter 24 of what he said in chapter 22. Okay, and then the last four phrases, if you will, is the conclusion. Okay, so it's a very short chapter. Okay, all right, so let's go to the main text. Okay, chapter 24. Okay, so okay, those who are on tiptoes cannot stand. Okay, cannot stand. All right, so this word qi means to tiptoe, to stand. Okay, all right, yeah. Li means to be vertical, stand up, set up, establish. Okay, so basic meaning: one cannot stand firmly on tiptoes, or one on tiptoe is not steady, right? So if you're trying to, you can do it yourself. If you want to exercise, you try to stand on tiptoe, you can't do that for long, right? Your calves will get very sore, right? Okay, so this is physical, obviously, from the physical perspective, right? It's not natural. Another way of saying, remember previous chapter, right? It's not natural, right? We're not designed to stand on tiptoes. We have to stand with our heels, right, touching the ground or the floor. Okay, another standing. To raise oneself a little higher temporarily, not natural. Okay, so that's a little bit nuanced, all right? So not just physically, you stand like that. It also, there's a metaphor, okay, that, you're trying to raise yourself, all right, above others or above what you normally are. Okay, so here's the understand, another additional understand. It's a metaphor to describe those who pretend to be better than they actually are. Yeah, you want it to be above others. Okay, all right. Okay, further understanding. By elevating oneself above others, it's an attempt to assume superiority of others. Yeah, you're better than others, etc. Okay, so here's the deeper meaning. So that's what we're trying to get, where we're headed, where Lao Tzu means is, 棋者 is one who shows off, and that's the 自现, right? Or is presumptuous, it's always right, or his way or the highway. Self-seeking, 自发, yeah. That means you want to, I don't know, looking for approval, yeah, self-approval, okay, and boastful, okay, 自矜, okay. So that's what standing on tiptoes, implies. It's a metaphor for those who wants, who displays these four qualities, which are, as we know in chapter 22, are all different, you could say nuances, different manifestations of basically arrogance or hubris, right? Okay. 傲慢, right? Okay, these are all like different forms of hubris or arrogance, okay? All right. The cannot stand also has a metaphorical meaning, which is that which does not last or endure is not the Tao. Another way is saying if it's what doesn't last or endure, it's not natural. Remember, nature is always very routine, regular, right? Constant, that type of thing, right? Okay, so even the strong wind and sudden downpour don't last because those are not quote unquote routine or regular. Yeah, they'll happen, but they don't last, right? So that's chapter 23, remember, right? Okay, so deeper understanding. All that are not lasting, that are not authentic, not ordinary, not regular, and not simple, right? Okay, that's what the Buli, okay? So the four normals, remember? That's from chapter 23, okay? All right, higher understanding. What is lasting or enduring, on the other hand, is to hold constancy, permanence, constant, okay? Or it's essentially what the Tao is, okay? So the implication is this. No one can stand on tiptoes for long. No one can keep up a false front indefinitely, right? For sooner or later, the facade collapses under its own weight. So in order to be lasting, what we need to stand is to stand in the permanent Tao, okay? Okay, that's, okay, or be with the Tao, be in the Tao, okay? Or be the Tao, right? Okay, that's chapter last week's, right? Chapter 23. Okay, so if one is not authentic or genuine, then one cannot last. If one does not conform to nature, then one will not last. If one wishes to endure, then one must follow the constant Tao. Okay, so that's the first phrase. Okay, second phrase, it's pretty similar, but okay. So this is qua. Okay, first word. Those who straddle cannot walk. Okay, yeah. It could also mean to stride, qua. It means to step across something. Okay, to cross, to span. It could also mean a noun, meaning wide stance. Okay, all right. So last word, xing, it means to travel, to walk, to do, okay, all that. The verb. It's a verb, okay? This is verb. Okay, so basic meaning of phrases. Those who have a wide stance or who straddles cannot walk properly, right? I mean, you try it, right? It's not natural, right? It's kind of weird, okay? So another understanding, by straddling, one cannot do much of anything or go anywhere. When one is in such a stance. Okay, that's a little bit more nuanced. Okay, broader. Another understanding of what straddle or having a wide stance. It's having exaggerated actions, demeanor, and words, all attempts to appease one's ego, who are manifestations of arrogance. Okay, so very similar to the first phrase. Okay, just a different verb or adjective to describe. Okay, so the deeper meaning of quadza is one who strikes an exaggerated pose in an attempt to draw attention, one who exaggerates one's actions, demeanor, and words. Okay, all right. Right? You go to the extremes, right? In one's actions, demeanor. You can say demeanor means what? Appearance, right? And words. And actually thoughts too, but that's for both, okay? For the first phrase and this phrase. So, okay, it just, very, extreme. You try to go, okay, that's beyond, that's normal, okay? All right, so, okay, so then the last two words, pushing, it also means not to make progress, not following and practicing the Tao. Okay, so that's the deeper meaning. Okay, deeper understanding. All right, those who cannot progress are what happens to those who seek attention. Okay, so yeah, you have false pretenses, right? So you're not. That's why you don't progress. Okay, so the higher understanding. We need to abide in constancy, permanence, right? Which is very regular or routine, very common or ordinary, very plain or simple, very genuine or straightforward. That's called nature. So it's like it's the other bookend to the first phrase, right? Okay. So all right. Okay. So but it all goes back to what is we call natural, or what is, the four normals. Okay. Okay. So implication. Those who are so concerned about appearance and approval that they fail to walk their path as they should, to progress, follow, and practice the Tao. Okay. So those who make progress, follow, and practice the Tao are those not standing on tiptoes, not straddling, who keep a low profile and focus on living one day at a time in accordance to the Tao. Okay, so that's the first section. He's basically laying down the thesis, right? Saying, we should be natural, conform to the Tao. Tao is nature or natural. Okay, and don't do these extreme, okay, things, or in this case, there's arrogance, right? Okay, and there's exaggeration or extreme. Okay, all right, all right. Now let's go. He's going to detail and explain. Okay, so like those who tiptoe or straddle tend to what? Self-display, okay, or flaunt. So they are not clear. Okay. So this word 自现, right? Okay. It means self-display, literally, or flaunt oneself. Okay. Show off. Okay. All right. Mean, we should know, it means bright, clear. It could be adjective and a verb. Okay. All right. So basic meaning is those who display or showcase themselves are not clearly seen as any different, okay? All right, as any different, okay? So here's why. Those who try to show off end up just like all other show-offs. Ironically, by trying to be special, they reveal themselves to the opposite. They're not so special after all. They should, they're petty, they're arrogant, etc., okay? So what's so special about that, right? Okay. Another additional understanding. This is connected to both tiptoeing, which is raising one's profile, right, which is qizhe, and straddling or drawing attention, quadza. Okay, so he just further explaining, right? If you one who tiptoes or straddles, you're gonna have this kind of tendency, all right, to self-display. Okay. Further understanding. There are many different ways to showcase or flaunt oneself. but there is a point of overdoing it, right? Going to extremes, well beyond. Okay, so once again, yeah, you don't want to go to extreme. There are going to be cases or situations where one has to display oneself, show oneself, but you don't overdo it. You don't do it because of your ego, because of arrogance, etc., etc. Okay, all right. Okay, so all right. Then there's a deeper meaning of not clear. Okay, it's those who are ignorant and lack awareness. Those who flaunt or show off display their lack of clarity about the Tao and do not understand why they should not flaunt. Okay, so that's another meaning. All right. Deeper understanding. Those who self-display will not be able to manifest their innate divine wisdom. Okay, because their ego takes over. Right. All right. Higher understanding. Self-display or flaunting arises from the ego or our false self, non-true self, which is not a manifestation of the Buddha nature. All right. So those who show off crave attention. That's why they show off. Okay. Generally, they want attention. Okay, because of their deep-seated sense of inadequacy. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, got to be careful. All right. So those who flaunt or show off have an enlarged sense of ego and will not be able to display the innate divine wisdom because their ego is in charge. Right. Okay. So we got to be careful. All right. So that's self-display. Okay. Now, the second one is those who self-assert or presume are not distinguished. Okay. So 自私, okay, means self-presume. You always think you're right, you're infallible. That means you're perfect. Your opinion is stubborn. Okay. Okay. 脏 means clear, conspicuous. It's similar to Ming, okay, but it's a little bit nuanced, different. Okay, slight difference. Okay, manifest. Okay, all right. So basic meaning. Those who presume their own correctness, they're always right or superior, I know more, I know better, end up looking ignorant and insecure. So it's the opposite, okay? End up the opposite of what their intentions are, okay? So another understanding, okay, there's a repeating pattern in life where such people, especially those who are self-assert or presume, seem to get what they want. Okay, yeah, like attention, recognition, status, power, position at first, but soon become exposed as fraudulent or fail at their noble. We see this so many times, right? So many times. We look at ourselves, we look at others, we look at this society, the world, right? We see, okay, a lot of people, repeating that pattern. Okay, so further understanding. The best way is to go opposite the direction of arrogance, flaunting, and self-presumption. Okay. Yeah. So, all right, just a reminder. Okay. So, deeper meaning of Buddha, not manifesting the innate qualities of our Buddha nature, not broad-minded, or not having tolerance. Okay. All right. So, what's deeper understanding? Not having tolerance and acceptance of others, we will tend to what? Dominate others. That's because we always think we're right, right? We're perfect. We know more, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So, you don't tolerate other people's opinions or views, right? Or conditions, etc. So, we think we know, so we would dominate. Sorry. Okay. Higher understanding. Self-asserting or self-presuming arises once again from the ego or false self, which is not a manifestation of Buddha nature. Okay, that's not what the Buddha nature is. This is not natural to the Buddha nature or innate to the Buddha nature. Okay, whereas it comes from where? Our egos. Okay, essentially. All right. Okay, implication. Those who self-assert will end up in a predicament where they will be exposed or fail. Once again, so these qualities, just like the previous of self-display, right? Similarly, self-assert, it's not natural. It's not real. Okay, so they're not going to last. So even though initially, or maybe for brief period of time, they'll get what they want. They'll achieve what they want, or they'll get what they desire. Attention, recognition, status, position, power, whatever. But in the end, they'll be exposed. Okay, all right. So they don't last. Right. These qualities don't last. Okay. So key point. Those who self-assert will not be able to manifest the self-nature virtues. It's innate knowledge and ability of ethics, morality, etc. Okay, because what? Their egos took over. Okay, not the Buddha nature. All right. Third phrase, section 2. Those who self-approve or seek, okay, have no merit. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 So, fa, okay, that's a 自法 means to be arrogant, to be proud, take pride in self-conceit, self-informed, self-seeking. Okay. Gong means achievement, right? Okay. Merit, success, etc. Okay. Basic meaning of phrase. Those who are self-serving will not achieve merit. Okay. All right. So what does that mean? Those who follow Tao, on the other hand, will let the work speak for them. So they don't seek approval. They don't, they're not self-important or self-seeking. Okay. Self-approvers put themselves on a pedestal and seek praise from others, right? Yeah. So these people are very, what can I say, insecure, right? They need to have praise. They need to, they say, people to, praise them, admire them, respect them to some way. Okay. So that's what self-approvers are. Okay. All right. So deeper understanding of Wu Gong, okay, or no merit, is a minor differentiation, dualistic mind. Okay. All right. So higher understanding. The self-approving or self-seeking arrives from the ego, once again, all right, which is not a manifestation of the Buddha nature. It's self-approving or self-seeking is not a natural manifestation or trait or innate trait of our Buddha nature. Implication, all right? Those who are self-seekers tend to abide in forms. Once again, that ego, right? The 4 marks, right? The 4 forms, you can say 4 marks. Ego is the first one. Okay. All right. Those who are self-conceited or self-important, all right, will not be able to achieve virtuous merit. Okay. All right. Because in the end, people will see what they really are, right? Yeah, they're doing things so as to seek praise, okay, not because of their sincerity in achieving things, okay? So they have, like, say, you can say a motive, ulterior motive, okay? So that's what self-approvers, self-seekers are like. So we've got to be careful, right? Once again, it all comes from our egos, right? Okay. All right. So the last phrase of section 2. Those who self-boast or self-praise do not last. Okay. 精, 自精, okay. It means to boast oneself. 自己逍遥, right? To blow one's horn, right? To pat yourself on the back. Okay. Okay. Last word, 长 means always, constant, long. It can mean long, length. It can mean to grow, 长, to grow, to develop. Okay. All right. Basic meaning. Those who are self-boasting are transient. They don't last. Once again, okay, just like the previous chapter, right? The strong wind, heavy downpour, right? They don't last. Same thing with self-boasters. Actually, same thing with all previous three qualities or three examples, okay? Another standing, all forms of arrogance are not lasting, all are impermanent, all right? Okay, so deeper meaning of Tang, it's permanence, constancy, okay? Okay, that's why we have to embrace or hold constancy or abide in constancy. If we abide in constancy, which is abide in our Buddha nature essence, then you will not have all these, these, you can say, bad qualities or, ego qualities or traits. Okay? All right, further understanding. Constancy is to return to one's nature, and in its being in accordance with the original nature. And this is more general, a more specific is to abide in our Buddha nature essence, be at one, we say, to hold, embrace, etc. Right? So if you notice, this is a very, repeating theme or teaching of the last two chapters, right? Chapter 22, 23, very similar. Okay. Deeper understanding of not constant or not lasting is not constant, impermanent, not to conform to the Tao, or not to be not to be in accordance or in accord with our Buddha nature. Okay, higher understanding is self-boasting or self-praising, arises from the ego or false self, which is not a manifestation of our Buddha nature. Okay. So those who self-praise, right, are not in accordance with the original nature, or Buddha nature. Okay? And therefore, those who are boastful do not last. Okay? Okay, once again. So if you can extend, right, just based on previous chapters, especially chapter 23, these qualities, boasting, self-approving, seeking, or self-conceit, self-assertion or presumption, and flaunting or self-defense. These are not our true natural traits or manifestations of our Buddha nature. Yes, they come from our ego. I mean, ego could be positive and negative. So this tends to be more negative. I mean, depending on degree, right? I mean, there's some, you can have some display, but you overdo it, well, then that's flaunting, showing off, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Same thing with this. Yeah, you could be right, but you don't need to go to the extreme, right? Right? Okay, to self-presume, right? Okay, same thing with, well, this is very self-seeking. I mean, this implies you have some kind of motive, ulterior motive, especially. All right, you're not doing it out of sincerity, out of truly helping others. You're doing it because you want to advance your own, agenda or whatever, motive. Okay, so and self-boasting, sages, we say sages, or those in the Tao, they do it because a need arises, right? When things arise, you deal with them. Okay, and then that's it. Not because they want to show off or to say, hey, listen, I can do this, nobody else can do it, right? Stuff like that. So we just have to be careful. Okay, so from Lao Tzu's point of view, these qualities are not real, are contrary to the Tao, are non-permanent, are not or unconstant or non-constant. Okay, and therefore these qualities are contrary to the Tao, contrary to our Buddha nature. Okay, all right. So so that's the Analysis, section 2. Now, the last section, conclusion. So, he said, therefore, those with the Tao call such things leftover food or tumors. Okay, all right. Okay, okay. Basic meaning of first phrase. Those with the Tao are those who follow and practice the teachings, consider such things, the above, the sixth phrase, these four, and then the first two phrases, right? Six phrases, such things. Okay, that's what he meant by this first phrase. Okay, right? These first four words. Okay, all right. He calls such things. Okay, that's what he meant. Okay, okay. Then the second phrase. Okay, 余 means leftover, extra, surplus, remaining. Okay, 食 means food, meal. Okay, something. It can mean to eat too. It could be a verb, but in this case, it's a noun. And 余 is a adjective. Yeah, adjective. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, leftover, surplus. Okay. All right. And then the fourth word, the second phrase, 罪. It means something that's extra. It's similar to this, but it just means redundant, superfluous, unnecessary. It could be burned some company, but 罪. Okay, and then the last two words with the 罪, it's a special usage. Okay, in an ancient usage, it means something that's not normal, abnormal growth. So it's like a tumor, a wart, superfluous or necessary things. Okay, now in some texts, instead of this character, 形, which means form, okay, they use this word. It's pronounced the same, 形, but this is remember, it could be a verb and a noun too, okay? Okay, remember in the top, okay, let's do this. In the top, we have this word, right? In this case, this is a verb, okay, not to walk, okay, all right, okay. So, but in this case, it's not the verb, okay, because the character for in ancient usage is meant as shape or form, okay. So some people, when you read the translation, they'll say, instead of tumors, they'll translate it as, going out of your way to travel, or, redundant or unnecessary travel or motion. Okay, so that's misunderstanding. Okay, of the ancient usage. All right, of this phrase. Okay, so you gotta be careful. All right. Okay, so you're gonna come across some translations. They interpret it as emotion or like some kind of action. Okay, yeah, it could mean action too, right? 行为, that's your action or behavior. Okay, so they say so they translate extraneous or redundant or unnecessary, superfluous motion, action, etc. That's not right. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So the basic meaning of second phrase is leftover food and tumors. So those who practice the Tao, right, or follow, call such things, these above 6 items in section 1 and section 2, as something that's left over, and tumors, abnormal, right, not necessary, extra, superfluous. Now, leftover food, why is that bad? Most people think today, hey, leftovers are good. I got a fridge, I can store it, and I could, I don't have to cook the next meal, 2 meals, whatever. All right. In ancient days, during Lao Tzu's time, you're talking about 2,500 plus years ago, there's no refrigeration. I mean, they have ice cubes and stuff, but generally, leftover food cannot be saved, becomes spoiled, and will become trash. So, so it's in the ancient times during Lao Tzu's time, leftover food is not a good thing. This surplus or excess remainder food meal is not good. It's not considered good. It's considered spoiled or trash. It's wasted. Okay, so it's negative. Whereas today, leftover, yeah, it's okay, right? Right? We can still eat it, right? Can still, you don't have to waste it. It's not wasted. So okay, so that's the connotation, all right? So leftover food in Lao Tzu's time, ancient food, it's a negative thing. It's considered wasteful, not good. Spoiled. It's a spoil. It will be spoiled and trash. Be a trash. So it's just like tumors. Tumors is not good, right? I hope, right? It's not good, right, for us. It's abnormal, right? What's a tumor? It's a cancer, right? Okay, what's cancer? It's abnormal growth of certain cells, right? That's what a cancer. That's what tumors are. Okay, so those are not good, right? Negative connotation. So just like those four qualities, those four traits of arrogance, right? Self-display, self-assertion, self-approval or self-seeking, and self-boasting, right? These are, which is just like trying to stand on tiptoes to be better than everybody, or to straddle, to wanting to dominate. Okay. So those things are abnormal. Okay, those qualities, traits. Okay, so they're not good. They're negative. Okay, all right. Further understanding of second phrase. It's a metaphor for things that people don't like, detest, or hate. Okay, so that's important. Okay, all right. So key point. Here it is. Those who follow or cultivate the Tao. Now, this first phrase is the initial of talking about they are literally, you can say, with the Tao, right? Yu could be mean in or within, okay, or regard with the Tao, okay. Basically, who cultivate at the beginning, okay. Consider these manifestations of arrogance, which is what? Self-display, self-presuming, self-seeking, and self-praise, as trash or extraneous things like tumor. Okay, so it's very negative. You detest, right? You don't like those things. You loathe those things. These qualities. Okay, all right. Now we come to the conclusion. Okay, well, the next two phrases. Okay, we're in the conclusion. So they despise them. It's very negative. Okay, so it's in this case it's an object. Okay, it's not the subject. Okay, it's not the subject. Okay, it's the object. Or could mean someone, some people. Okay, it could mean perhaps, possibly, all that. And now the third word, normally this is pronounced as which means evil. You can say evil, wicked, okay, vice. But in this case, it's pronounced, because then that's a adjective, but now it's a verb. Okay, it's used as a verb, which means which is pronounced It means to loathe, to fear, dislike, hate. Okay, all right. So the basic meaning is, now those who follow the Tao, well, you say cultivate at the beginning, do have an intense loathing for these things. These qualities. Okay, manifestations of arrogance. All that. Okay. All right. So, as cultivators, we have to understand that. Okay. These things, these qualities are contrary. Okay. So we have to, detest them, get rid of them. Okay. Oh, no. You can say we fear. You can say because they will prevent us from what? Cultivating, right? Or be obstacles. They're obstacles to our path, right? To our journey of cultivation, right? So we have to be very aware of them and object to them and don't want those things. Okay, so it's a very initially it's a very, you can say, negative, right? It's negative. You have a negative attitude towards these things initially, right? We need to have that, right? It's like the second stage of the trisyllogism, right? Okay, we have to all go through those different stages. Okay. So that's what the basic meaning is. Okay, we have to have an intense, you can say, loathing, dislike, okay, for those things. Okay, because we have to understand those things are not natural to the Buddha nature. Okay, another understanding is those things, and why they're not natural, because they are the manifestation of our ego. Okay, all right. Okay, then this is an expression of strong objection against things that cause us problems, right? That are obstacles to our cultivation. Okay, all right. So key point: there are certain things that are to be loathed, detested. Okay, as arrogance. Okay, so that's a very strong negative attitude towards these traits, such as arrogance. Okay, so that's initial. Okay, that's the key. That's why it's first appear. Okay, now the last phrase is thus those who possess the Tao thus do not engage it. Okay, so now we're at the further advancement of our cultivation. It becomes those who possess the Tao. You say one, you abide in constancy, right? You are in the Tao, or the Tao is you. You can say, there's no differentiation anymore. Okay, so it's one. It's that oneness. Okay, let's see. Okay, Chu means to deal, right? Okay, means to manage, to handle, to dwell. Okay, to get along with. Okay, a lot of meanings. Okay, it's a verb in this case. Okay, so the basic meaning of first four words. Okay, right here. Okay, those who possess the Tao within, those who have embraced or mastered the Tao, those who are one with the Tao, or you can say we are sages or advanced cultivators. Okay, so that's the higher level. Okay, then from the beginning. Okay, from here. Okay, who follow or cultivate the Tao. Okay, okay. So another meaning is those who have the Tao, right, or who are with the Tao or at one, do not engage in those manifestations of the ego. In this case, it's arrogance. Okay, so that's what it means. Okay, it's a more advanced level. Okay, just naturally, when you are in the Tao, you are one. You are what? Abiding in the Tao, or in that state of permanence or constancy. Then there's no such manifestations of the ego. Okay, so all those negative things, flaunting, presumption, pride, boasting, are contrary to the Buddha nature essence. Okay, so the deeper understanding of Yo Dao Zi, it's to aid, to abide in constancy. Okay, abide in constancy. Those who abide, those who abide in the permanent, in the permanent, changeless Buddha nature. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. The deeper meaning of Butsu, not to have any sentiments or circumstances that are contrary to the Tao. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Deeper understanding. Okay. Those who are one with Tao do not abide in these things which are contrary to Tao. Yeah, there's a story of Zhuangzi. refusal to become a minister. Okay, that's a well-known. Use the story of a sacrificial ox or cow, right? But you guys can look it up. It's a very famous story. It's in Zhuangzi's. I forgot the title. The Zhuangzi's story. But okay, there are like 30. I forgot. There are quite a few different chapters. Okay, and I think this is in the middle section. Okay, so it's very famous. Okay, all right. Implication. Okay. We don't dwell in those things which are contrary to the Buddha nature, because they're not natural, they're not lasting, and they're not the innate qualities of our Buddha nature essence. Okay, those things, meaning these things. Example, okay, these flaunting in this chapter, in this case, flaunting, presumption, pride, boasting. Arrogance, okay, you can say hubris. Yeah, this is part. Yeah, all different manifestations. Okay, so the key point. All right. Okay, here's the end. Those who embrace the beginningless and endingless Buddha nature essence, okay, embrace, one, or those who abide in the permanent changeless Buddha nature, okay, to abide in permanence or constancy, do not engage in activities or things that are contrary to the Tao. Okay? Okay, so that's it for chapter 24. It's a short chapter. Okay, it kind of re-emphasize what he talked about in chapter 23 or 22, especially 22. Okay, so especially if you notice, right, chapter 22, right, chapter 22. Once again, he says, the title is to embrace the one. So if you embrace the one, you wouldn't have these type of displays or manifestations, which is, in this case, it's arrogance, you can say, right? These are various forms, you can say, of arrogance, different shades. They're overlapping, of course, but if you want to summarize it with one trait, you can say it's arrogance or hubris, right? You can say that. All right. Now, in chapter 22, his main point was not to contend. Okay, you want harmony. Okay, so arrogance or hubris definitely will disrupt or be an obstacle to harmony. Obviously, okay, all right. These qualities will lead to contention, right? Just okay, all these qualities definitely will lead to contention, right? Right? Okay, right? People will either be envious, jealous, or want to do more than you, okay, or to show off more, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so, all right, okay, that's it. Any questions?
This chapter also tells us we need to be very humble, and we need to have virtues in ourselves. So according to Tao, so very critical and important as cultivators. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are like, obviously, there's kind of like, you strike a balance. I mean, it's not, I mean, we talk about arrogance, of course, is a display of flaunting, that's kind of, that's going too far. Of course, when we're doing things and we have to, express something or do something, I mean, we do it naturally and don't overdo it.
You need something, equilibrium, right? Some kind of balance. There's some things you have to show, you have to display, right?
Yeah.
But if you overdo it to the extreme, then it's not good. But we humans tend to have that tendency, unfortunately. We don't know when to stop, right? No. It's not
especially when we have a material world. When you think what we have, in material side, material stuff. And we forgot the virtues in our Buddha nature are more important. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, the virtues of masters, and the compassion and mercy of predecessors, grand predecessors, transmitters, lecturers, temple masters for giving me this opportunity. And there are things that I did not say or explain properly. I ask for their forgiveness and Lao's forgiveness. Thank you.